You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, some strange things have been happening. Our web servers for our internet broadcast were hacked and taken down. And we had trace routers in place, and so we know who did it. Our website, WilliamCooper.net, was also hacked, and they attempted to take it down, but our security measures there prevented them from doing it. We also had trace routers running there, and we can identify anybody who ever visits the website and exactly what they do. And without cookies or anything else, it's just a security thing that we have to prevent people from really screwing around with us. The only thing that happened with the website is they actively and actually did prevent us from uploading any new pages or updating any pages for a while. And until we were able to discover what they had put on the server to cause it to do that, and eliminate it. The trace routes are very revealing, ladies and gentlemen. They lead to two different places. One place is Austin, Texas. Isn't that a coincidence with the series we're doing here now, and with the fact that Alex Jones has bragged on many occasions that he lives in the Silicon Valley of Texas, that Austin is the Silicon Valley of Texas, and that he has friends that can hack into anything. He's made those statements openly on the air. The second place was the Department of Defense. So there's two groups of people who were very actively interested in stopping people from hearing the series that we've been doing over the last couple of days, and the final one tonight. We have security measures in tonight. It's going to be very hard to take down the web servers that are broadcasting the Hour of the Time, but they may try. Tonight is going to open your eyes. It's going to reveal something to you that is just absolutely astounding, along with the fact that they tried to stop us from broadcasting this information on the web and have been jamming this frequency for the last two nights. We have also, through our friends who are ham operators who have radio direction finders, traced the jamming directly to military installations. And the fact that they tried to hack into our website and shut it down tells a pretty big story about the importance of what you're going to hear tonight. So sit back, get comfortable, pay attention. This is going to literally blow your mind.
Cash machines are failing in Britain and now other European countries. They're finding large amounts of explosives in France. Vladimir Putin, who is known as Vladimir the Ruthless, and using all his profanity on national TV, you name it, we won't read the profanity here, but we've got it. This person is on an unbelievable power trip and resembles a demon. He is a creature of the IMF and the World Bank and international communism. He is the former KGB head. And this information is vital, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing the New World Order really come out in full force. More wars than have been in the last 50 years are going on right now. The war in Chechnya is raging in Grozny with, reports of hundreds of thousands dying, 20 to 40,000 civilians trapped in the city. Russian Hinds are being shot down. Tanks are being blown to bits. Massive Grad unguided rocket attacks are being launched from the city indiscriminately right now. Air and artillery bombardments as well. It's absolutely out of control. It is pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you the news first on Y2K, the newest developments. The Pennsylvania nuclear plant has been shut down. One of the main systems transferring the power from it failed, but they say it's not a Y2K problem. And the things I'm experiencing here in Austin, Texas, the shelves are empty of water and some gas stations are running out of fuel. Here in Central Texas and in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the shortwave is basically down, ladies and gentlemen. Went off right as I went on the air. The big news on Y2K. Then we'll start going to your calls. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. All right, let's go ahead and get to this article. Associated Press. This came out at 7:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, December 31st, 1999. Pennsylvania nuclear plant shut down. One of the two nuclear reactors at PECO Energy Co.'s Limerick Generating Station has shut down this morning after a piece of equipment failed. Company spokesman Neil McDermott said the problem was not Y2K related. It was declared an unusual event, the least serious emergency classification of a nuclear power plant. They got to have a serious emergency to shut down a plant, ladies and gentlemen. You power one down, you're not going to power it up for at least days. It was declared an unusual event. At 2:55 a.m., shutdown occurred when an insulator on the main generator transformer from Limerick 2 failed. We had reports yesterday of this. Off the record, I would not report it, but I had it from a good source that this plant was having problem along with 4 other plants. I may just go ahead and report it here. Boy, do we get good information here. This has been going on for days. From our information, it is not this transformer that they're talking about. They wouldn't just shut a plant down over that. Something serious may be going on there. So that the central government, known as the federal government, the occupational government in Washington, D.C., has set up a huge $50 million command bunker hooked into all the FEMA boxes that can take over all the shortwave broadcast and commercial AM and FM stations as well as television broadcast stations. And we hope they do not activate that, ladies and gentlemen. Police and military are on high alert, running around looking for supposed boogeymen and terrorists under every rock. Military are highly visible now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are trains of military equipment moving into Austin. 2 nights ago, on Wednesday night, Fox News reported that the airport will be used as a massive holding facility for troublemakers or rioters here in Austin that has no history of riots. They need to get that country locked down so they can stage the election for Vladimir Putin. I mean, this guy is a demon. Have you seen this guy? It's just how he's raging with power. I'm Alex Jones. I'm your host. I'm just one of the great hosts here on the GCN radio network, and I've been very passionate today because I can't even keep track of all the developing news that's coming in. I'm not going to get into there. I'm not even going to say it's 6 to 7 reactors across the country. I'm not even going to. It's bad, and I got this news about the Pennsylvania plant early yesterday, got it again off air, confirmed it with someone that is 99% accurate, about like I am, trying to report the truth, and now I've got the Associated Press saying, well, they shut the whole plant down, but they call it an unusual event, the least serious emergency classification of a nuclear power plant. Well, it's got to be pretty bad for them to power a plant down.
Time is getting shorter until Y2K. If you want to be sure your family and loved ones will weather the potential Y2K storm of delays, shortages, or interruptions of services, then now is the time to stock up on emergency supplies and a home food reserve.
As the developments move forward with this Y2K and this gear up for clamping down in America and Russia and around the world by globalist forces, we'll be bringing you the news as long as we're here on the air. Now pretty much dictator and controller of Russia publicly, and here in America they're gearing up and bracing for terrorism and militarizing everything in front of us. So it's happening there, it's happening here. There they're using the war with Chechnya. Here they're using Y2K and the threat of terrorism. Oh, this is extremely serious. 2 weeks ago, Topol M, 6,200-mile super range, multiple warhead, newest design, U.S. clone technology missiles were deployed across Russia. They're mobile. These are first strike type systems. They're also designed to survive several strikes from America or any other nation. They're deploying these, and Yeltsin openly has been threatening us weekly to nuke us. I mean, it's just getting insane. And absolutely, this looks like just one more ratchet on the takeover of America. And yes, they have an extreme strongman KGB leader running Russia right now. They have deployed their missiles against us and their submarines, and have already delivered fully functional missile cruisers to China. Yes, he took the codes off, and he took away our first strike capability. By first strike, that means if missiles are in the air, let's say 4,000 of them. Russians have got a lot more than that.
Right.
4,000 missiles coming in, subs launching, suitcases going off. We have to wait until we absorb the first strike. That will mean virtual annihilation to our military. Brass, I know you're CFR. You've been told you'll be able to be in the bunker if they go to this level. I don't know if they'll do it. It may just be ratcheting down the global system. All I know is this: Boris Yeltsin, at 4 o'clock in the morning, as the Russian time zone in its eastern area near Japan was entering into Y2K, he resigned, and now Vladimir Putin, known as Vladimir the Ruthless by the Russian people, is now taking the reins of power, supreme power in Russia, and he is a former KGB chief.
There's something else I want to tell you, Alex.
Well, hold on just a second.
Okay.
I mean, this is extremely serious. Again, I was getting this information, what you just said 2 days ago, and I got it even more. I ignored it then I got it yesterday, and now it's in the Associated Press that in Pennsylvania, where you're calling from, in the city you're calling from, one of 2 nuclear reactors at PECO's Energy Co. Limerick Generating Station was shut down this morning after a piece of equipment failed. And they're saying it's non-Y2K related. This is just unbelievable.
One other thing, I heard Bo Grice say this morning that Russia said if their power goes out that they're going to blame us and they're going to set off their nuclear warheads.
Well, I didn't hear that, but I would be interested to have any details. Do you have the details of what Colonel Grice said?
No, that's all I heard him say was that they said if they had a power blackout, they'd blame it on us.
I know they're threatening to nuke us every single week. I've read the Associated Press, Reuters, Interfax News Agency, London Times articles here. I mean, I read Yeltsin and Jiang Zemin's quotes, the dictator of China, and they're saying we'll nuke you. I mean, they spell it out. We will hit you with nuclear weapons. We reserve the right to hit you. 3 weeks ago, their head of their missile forces said we reserve the right to nuke you first. Their currency is plunging. The Egyptian pound is plunging against the dollar, the Japanese yen, the Deutsche mark, and just all of it. And the same thing is starting to develop here in America. Many of the gas stations here in Austin have the little gloves over the pumps saying they're out of fuel. You never see this in Austin, Texas. Right here in South Austin, I've seen several stations. We don't know if this is just a Y2K that was here. Just bizarre behavior. Americans standing up as Russia threatens to attack us with nuclear weapons, as nuclear power plants, at least one, are being shut down, as the military runs around with the police and the FBI saying terrorism is imminent, and some would characterize us as dangerous because we report the facts. Absolutely out of control. Just maintain your readiness, be calm, defend your family, defend your country, but doing a fabulous job. He is consulting with people that he knows personally, a lot of former military people that now own radio companies. And in fact, I'm not even going to say who the individual is. I'm sure he could call in publicly. I just don't want to give a lot of folks' names out on the air. They have activated a powerful Cold War radar system in the North Pole region. That is something that is grounding out shortwave. The entire 9400 band, all throughout the 9.4000 up to 9. I mean, military traffic is everywhere right now, ladies and gentlemen. Scrambled. We've got superpower radar systems, nuclear systems up. And perhaps our military is refused. It was Clinton that shut down that Cold War radar system. It's now back up from people that actually worked in there. We have it confirmed from the sound and where it's coming from experts. Fresno, where our servers are located, is in the middle of a blackout. Ladies and gentlemen, we're off the Internet. This is just absolutely out of control. That's why the commercial stations are so important. More information coming at you on the other side as Y2K develops.
Many of you have been preparing for the worst of times, putting away storable foods and water. While this makes perfect sense, we at Midas Resources urge you to consider the possibility of having to flee for your lives. Though the very prospect of this sounds grim, the possibilities are more than remote. Asian countries now having long-range nuclear bombs, a politically unstable Russia, and an increasing presence of NATO here on U.S. soil could spark a ground war in the West.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Bringing you continuing, unfiltered, unabashed reality. I am Alex Jones. I am your host.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. And now, back to Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, commercial stations, if you're just now joining us after your news, to the micros out there and everybody else, America is under siege right now. They have put up so much chaos and so many smoke screens, I don't even know exactly what's going to happen, and I've always been good at analysis. We know at least one nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania has been shut down, according to the Associated Press. I was told a completely different story yesterday, off air, by a good source, that this plant had already been shut down. They're now telling us it happened early this morning at 2:55 a.m. Eastern Time. Egypt's having basic runs on their banks, according to the information I have. The AP's got a whitewash of it. But the president, Hosni Mubarak, is telling people to maintain calm. Fresno, California, where our internet servers are down. The power is off in the city. Serious developments, cash machines, ATMs, credit card machines having problems in Europe.
She called frantically yesterday saying, don't want you to leave Harrison, Arkansas. My girlfriend works there. I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to leave. They've got martial law signs. We just found out down at the Arkansas Highway Transportation Department. And we said, well, we thought at first she had probably seen your tape because she's got kind of like got her head in the sand. And yesterday, up and down Highway 65, I was seeing Arkansas Highway Transportation Department vehicles all over the place, and have been seeing them ever since the 28th. And this girl here just does not believe in that stuff now. She's totally going nuts over it.
So you've known this person for a long time, and she was a doubting Thomas, and now she claims she has personally seen the martial law signs.
She has it, but her friend that works for the Arkansas Highway Transportation Department called and told her they just delivered them. And we go up and down the highway a lot, and it looks kind of spooky, you know. When you...
I hear you, sir. Hey, right here in Austin, Texas, they've announced that it's a basic concentration camp at Robert Mueller Airport. Anybody that lives in Central Texas, go take a look at it. Former military officer and former police officer, retired gentleman that owns, well, let's just say a company. He does services for the military. I've known the guy for years, upstanding individual, happily married Christian man. He told me 2 nights ago that he was out at Fort Hood during the day doing work, where I know he is routinely the largest Army base that America has. And there were giant trains, just long lines of trains with flat cars loaded with APCs and LAVs. That's armored personnel carriers and light armored vehicles. The Marine type, just all over the place. They have flatbed trailers. They have large cattle trailer type situations, navy blue or black, lined up. You can tell, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit excited here today and trying to maintain my calm.
Yeah, they're turning the heat up on this thing now, and it's at Ward 10, Alex. And the reason I called in today, I got another confirmation real early this morning. In fact, before the sun even come up, a gentleman called me out of Michigan about the power plant situation, what we were talking about yesterday out in western Kentucky. Well, he called me about a power plant up in Michigan. Exactly. And this one here, one of the ones in Michigan, this one that's in question here that I'm talking about, we have confirmation. When given the order, they will shut this one down. And that newspaper article that you were talking about that nuclear plant in Pennsylvania, they can't shut them things down overnight, Alex.
Yesterday I got it from other individuals. I'm not going to, but now they admit it's got a problem. They say it's not Y2K related. They've just shut it down. And you're right. They have to shut these things down over a period of time.
Now is not the time for somebody to go do something stupid. Now's the time to kick back in front of the fireplace or campfire or whatever tell a few Bill and Monica jokes and sit back and wait and watch what they do, because until you know what they do, you don't know how to react. And if somebody goes off and does something stupid, it's going to ruin it for the whole country.
And if you haven't gotten your supply of potassium iodine, I think that's the correct technical term. I've got several bottles of it. That's what they issue the military, and they used to issue people in this country with civil defense in case of Russian nuclear attack. Definitely is the time now to get that. But I know this. The Russians have been threatening to nuke us publicly to their people, hyping them up against us, deploying their missiles against us, saying they reserve the right to strike first. Clinton then responds, we will not strike until we've already been hit. We will not survive a total all-out first strike.
No, I don't think so. If we do, it'll be very, very few.
Well, I'm sitting right here in Austin, the middle of a major city center. You could say bye-bye to Alex Jones if he get hit. This is the Silicon Hills of Texas. He's president. He's over the Duma, the Kremlin, the whole 9 yards. Toll-free number. Are you having power outages in your area? Are you experiencing troubles? Are you out of gasoline? Are you out of water in your grocery stores like we are by and large here in Austin, Texas? Power in Fresno is off in the downtown city area where we have a microwave relay tower hooked into to the huge server that runs our systems. And one of the worst developments on top of Russia threatening to nuke us now and their new militarized posture with China against us, and both their presidents threatening us. President Boris Yeltsin resigned at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time this morning, and Vladimir Putin, known as Vladimir the Ruthless, stepped into the reins of power.
The Russians for the past 10 years have been building bunkers, and supposedly...
Well, it was in the New York Times last year that they're building the biggest bunker known to man in the Ural Mountains.
Right.
I believe that's the mountain chain.
Supposedly they can accommodate their entire population. Now, I don't know if that's...
Well, I know this. Back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they were building bunkers for Americans. They were storing them with food. They were training children against the threat that was created by the bankers. And in the last 20 years or so, 30 years, they stopped the education of people in the public schools and the private schools. And now, your designated nuclear fallout shelter in any major city, you can see the signs if you look carefully enough. There'll be like a small, about 10 inches long, 8 inches tall, little sign that'll say nuclear fallout shelter will be a parking garage. So they can move in later and pull out all the rotten skeletons after they emerge from the Switzerland, where they have total gun rights and incredibly low crime. I guess the elite likes to home for themselves at safe. They have giant underground bases stocked for 2 years with recreation courts and the whole 9 yards deep underground for the entire population. Here it is right here. I've got 50 articles. Let me read it to you. It's Pennsylvania nuclear plant shut down. The Associated Press, Friday, December 31st. It's up on my website, Infowars.com. My site's up, isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm a little paranoid right now. The Associated Press, Friday, December 31st, 1999, 7:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the first to break the story. One of the 2 nuclear reactors at PECO's Energy Co.'s Limerick Generating Station was shut down this morning after a piece of equipment failed. Company spokesman, big Y2K rollover. We've got nuclear power plant problems in PA, shutdowns. We had power outages out in Fresno, California that knocked our internet off for about 4 hours. That's back up.
Hi, Alex. I've just been listening to your show, and I've got a few questions about what you've been talking about today. What's with this Russia threatening to nuke us?
Oh, my gosh. Are you online? Do you have a computer?
No, I'm not online. I've been listening to you.
Well, I mean, I could go pull them off in my archives, even in my main page, in subpages, more news sections. There are literally, I mean, every week I've been reading 2 or 3 articles where Jiang Zemin in China is threatening to nuke us. Yeltsin has been threatening to nuke us every week until he resigned at 4 o'clock Central Time this morning. They have deployed their Topolin missile 2.5 weeks ago against us, long-range, 6,200-mile intercontinental ballistics, the newest design with U.S. clone technology. You've got the head of their missile systems, their top general, threatening to nuke us, saying he reserved first strike authority for absolutely no reason to attack us.
It was also reported a local person caught it on CNN.
A power plant has been blown up.
In Oregon.
Okay, we need to get CNN on. I'm sure at the studios at GCN they're checking that out. Boy, Clinton's pulled it. Oh man, this has happened.
But that's the report that I got, and two other people on local repeaters verified it. So I thought
that's Oregon, and they're going to say that one of Bin Laden's terrorists slipped through. I've been stating for years Bin Laden is a known CIA asset. That's public record. But I firmly side on the fact that we need to go ahead and just report the truth. But creates the panic, it does. Should have warned people earlier.
And I just heard on the way home an interview on a San Francisco radio station from a power official from the Northeast, and what he said happened was that somebody loosened a guide wire on a power pole, and it fell over, and I guess only momentarily interrupted power. The computer switched it to an alternate route. But
and they know that someone loosened it. That's why it fell off. Yes.
That's what they said.
A terrorist knocked the power line down. We've got Yeltsin has resigned. The KGB chief, Vladimir Putin, the Ruthless as he's known, has taken full command of Russia. Now the figurehead puppet that couldn't even talk or stand has been removed. And Putin is running around enjoying himself, sitting on top of that captive population. Flipping around, and they weren't really giving us any news about the mass Y2K problems that are being reported across the globe that are being covered up in mainstream media and relegated to the back pages of the news wires. But I'm flipping around, and on PBS here locally in town, I don't know if it's on in other areas around the country, but on public broadcasting, the elite likes to see their garbage. They were going, we worship the sun, we worship Antibeast. I mean, this is out of control. 2 nights ago, Wednesday night on Fox News, they showed the old airport, Robert Mueller, right in the middle of town. You used to live in Austin. Michael, you know how big it is. They shut this thing down 3 months ago, even though the new airport wasn't done, wasn't completed. And they go, here are the new hangars and detainment facilities for any troublemakers during the new millennium, rioters or kooks or terrorists. And they show these barbed wire fences, chain link fences inside of the hangars, Michael, and shackles on the ground, concreted into the ground, like something out of a slave galley or something that you would see 3,000 years ago. Well, Michael, we've seen major procrastination. I think what we said is being borne out to be true. In fact, this morning I'm listening to ABC News at about 6 driving, and suddenly I hear them report that, now I'm losing my mind. What's the big island? New Zealand off the coast of Australia.
Right.
They were first to be hit. They had their power out for hours. In some areas, just a few minutes. In others, the power's been going off intermittently in South Austin for the last 2 weeks here in Central Texas. And then the big news. That's right, in Pennsylvania, a nuclear power plant shut down. They shut down at 2:55 in the morning.
I didn't hear that.
Last night. And they're saying it's not Y2K related.
No, of course not. It's something else, I'm sure.
Yeah, a plant might shut down every 10 years in this country. And this Vladimir Putin is known by the Russian people.
Oh, man, now we're in trouble with Vladimir at the helm. Here's the guy who said when we were starting to rattle, I guess, our own sabers over here, talking about what they were doing over in Grozny, and he said, and I quote, you better back down or we'll just nuke you.
Yeah, he also said about Chechnya, well, I can't use those words on the radio, even though it's from AFP, AP, UPI, and ITAR TASS. That's the Russian news agency. Well, I'm sitting here reading the Associated Press report about how they turned the plant off, but it has nothing to do with Y2K. They're just shutting plants down and power's off in many different areas across the country. In fact, I've confirmed that a lot of different cable systems aren't working and satellites are down.
Here's one for you guys wondering, you poo-pooers, you naysayers about Y2K. Here you go.
Japan.
Minor fault struck 2 nuclear power plants in Japan just seconds after the clock ticked into 2000 on Saturday, officials said. Government and company officials launched investigations into whether the glitches were related to the Millennium Bug. Most likely not. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, right? Winky, winky. Huh? What are you going to do, huh?
Everything's winky, winky.
I'll tell you what it really boils down to, folks. You got to give it about a week to find out what's really going on with this Y2K. You'll get little bits and pieces here and there. And
then a month from now, we'll really know what the scope was.
I would just like to say to anyone that lives inside of a nuclear power plant, pack up and go somewhere else for the weekend.
I mean, incredible things are happening. The store shelves are bare in Austin, Texas, have been for well, ever since yesterday at least, I haven't been in the store in a few days. Gas is running out. They're announcing on Fox News if you're bad, they're going to put you in a. They're going to bolt you to a pipe coming out of the ground at the airport in some cold hangar.
Boy, they better not do that up here in Minnesota. You get dang cold up here. They do that.
Well, yeah, it's really about 50, 60 degrees. But my point is, I mean, there are just incredible things are happening. The military serving search warrants now in 77 Texas counties. And it's just, we got nuclear power plants shutting down. Well, my point is, I sit on my turf. Now, sure, if there's a big flash and we get hit with a nuke, then I'll feel sorry for what I did. And, the Russians are threatening to nuke us right now.
That's one of the things I didn't prepare for when it comes to Y2K is whether or not nukes will be launched over here or my nuclear power plants will go off. It's one of those things you look at and go, well, you can only really prepare for so much. And those are the types of things that if I knew the nukes were coming, well, I think I'd just grab the kids, give them a quick hug and a kiss, and step out into the street like the...
Well, they've got the armored personnel carriers and LAVs loading on the flat cars out at Fort Hood.
Well, I checked out the grocery store. That's what I just did. And
how was that? Was the grocery store still there?
And a whole lot of bread and stuff is. Some of it's getting pretty down, I would say.
Well, buy up all you can. Don? Well, buy up all you can. Don?
I've had it already.
For the call, Don. We appreciate it. We've got to jump on ahead to a guy here who tells us that there are currently missiles being launched. And where did you hear that from, Blake? Well, let's bring him in. It's Scott from Illinois. Scott, thanks for stopping by. What's going on?
How you doing? ABC just had a special on there saying that they had the guy in front of the command center in Cheyenne Mountain, general out there, saying that early in the day that there was 5 missiles that were launched. He wouldn't say where they were.
Funny we didn't hear about that.
Pardon?
I said it's kind of funny you didn't hear about that one. I mean, if 5 missiles got launched and a general is out in front of Cheyenne Mountain telling us this.
Well, this was just about 5 minutes ago. They said it on Channel 7.
Well, they didn't happen to mention which direction they were going or where they were coming from.
Well, one of the reporters asked where they were coming from, where they were going to, what kind of missiles, and he said, I can't give out that information.
Oh, God forbid you tell anybody before they get nuked. I mean,
Well,
5
that's
missiles is left.
We can't trust the American people with that information if this is true, just like the special operations training with Russians in South Texas when they're burning buildings and laying siege to towns, all part of routine training, of course. We can't tell the American people, but we've got to have Russian special forces in the NORAD defense bunkers and systems. That's all public news. It's because we can trust the Russians. They're good people.
Oh, of course they are. The Russians are my friends. I've always felt that way, starting back in grade school, and they told us you got to hide underneath a desk because of our friends over there in the Soviet Union.
Well, when Vladimir's not threatening to nuke us, or Yeltsin isn't, or if it's not Jiang Zemin, president of the Chi-Coms, these are... Oh, and Clinton says right after Vladimir threatens to nuke us, that's another statement. He just made that again.
Mom's listening to this program, I think, today, Alex, and she's going to hate to hear me say this, but you elect me president, I'll say it one more time, I'll nuke him first. I'll push the damn button as soon as I take the oath.
Well,
the last word is out of my mouth. I'm opening up that football, and I'm going to start launching, man.
Well, I'll tell you this. The Russians have been threatening. They now reserve the first strike right for no reason to hit us. And Clinton says he will absorb the first strike. He's such a good little communist.
Well, that's good. I hope that one of those 5 missiles then is headed towards his place and not mine. Attaboy.
Hey, I'm verifying what that fella said. I do have a TV in his camp, and that general was at Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado Springs. And he shocked even the news network personnel there, Peter Jennings. He said that he was shocked by what he said.
All right, that's it. I've got to get serious. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm going to put ABC on.
3.
You do that, you mainstream sucker.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if they're launching missiles and they're announcing it, now did they just go to...
Sure, all
Did
the
they
time.
just go to break? 5 missiles have been launched. We can't tell you from where they're going?
We're going to jump to Mark Cornkey calling in from Michigan. How are you, Mark?
Hey, guys. Sounds like we've been busy. First of all, the ABC report did have a NORAD commander who came up and online as part of the Space Command, specifically talking about...
It's now taken over all the services. Now we've got something called Space Command running everything.
Actually, about 2 years ago, we got hold of a lot of their patches, so don't worry, guys. We can look just like them when the time comes. But if this, we're not joking. We actually do have everything I saw in his uniform we already picked up. We look just like these guys if you want to. But They did announce that there had been a series of actions, but again, the perceived enemy is obviously the American people, because the foreign governments know this. If it's not the Russians that launched, the Russians know this. The Europeans know this.
We're sitting here calmly, and you're telling me now that it's on ABC News that 5 missiles were launched, and they aren't telling us where they were launched or who launched them?
The general was very calm about this, obviously implying that everything's warm and fuzzy and everything had already been either handled or whatever. However, last night our people were watching the different air bases around Michigan, here in the Michigan Republic. We got several confirmed reports that last night, as of about 8 o'clock through to 10 o'clock, everything and anything that was on the flight line at Salford Air National Guard Base was put into the air and was constantly in the air. Several other bases, and again, we've been doing this for many, many years, so again...
Well, Mark, the big radars were turned back on just a few hours ago.
Yes, part of that is that I think, number one, remember, we have more than one player in this. The Russians are not the only ones that everybody better worry about. The communist Chinese, who are the setup enemy for the long run for the last scam.
Nobody ever talks about Germany. They've been arming in secret massively.
So we've got several different countries here with the same assets and resources, and also with the same junk technology. If it goes bad, it goes bad in many different ways. And the Russians, while they do worry about us, of course they are friends of the Chinese. They've always worried more about the Chinese border, but it seems they've backed a lot of their troops off. So somebody's playing games here, and obviously the Chinese and the Russians perceive us, as the New World Order crowd does, to be the enemy. A couple other things real quickly.
Well, Mark, this is insanity, Mark. Mark, I want to get back to this. You saw the ABC report?
It was just on, in the last 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
You're telling me a general at Cheyenne Mountain walks out, he says some type of 5 missiles have been launched, and says that everything's wonderful, back to sports.
I want to know where the 5 missiles went.
Comrade Jennings looked like he'd gone into catatonic brain fart, because he's trying to keep the smile on his face, Cheshire Cat smile. When they went back to him, he goes, well, you know, these little glitches happen.
And notice how we're all calmly sitting here right now, knowing that nuclear missiles could be about to rain down, and that little New World Order scum.
Hey.
It would only be a handful. Okay, first of all, guys, what it's obviously, keep in mind, it was intended to show that they, quote-unquote, have everything under control. But my problem is, again, as you said, who launched? In other words, was it a mistake on our part? Was it a ballistic submarine?
And they won't tell us who did it.
No, it sounds like that's a single hand, or what the Russians call a hand launch.
Yeah, no offense, but I hope it was us who launched.
Well, the thing here again is, if you've been doing what we've been doing in the Patriot movement for as long as we have and organizing the militia, we're pretty well squared away. That's one of the reasons.
Well, Mark, how does Vladimir, we should talk about this after the break, how does Vladimir Putin, known as Vladimir the Ruthless, who took over at 4 in the morning in Russia, over the Duma, the State Duma, over the Kremlin, and now as president, he's the Fuhrer.
That's right. In fact, interestingly enough, this was something that you'll notice the controlled press did not talk about. It was not on the horizon. So this is part of the series of what they would call millennial or organized shifts to the New World Order quick.
And we'll keep you posted all night long on the GCN Radio Network. Mark Cornke, thanks for the call.
Well, you heard it, folks. And just at that point, what do you think was really going through the minds of all of the people who've been listening to all of this stuff build up to this point all day, who were in a state of mass hysteria, expecting the... we are once again, folks, at our Century Award ceremony. I know a lot of you enjoyed our last one in the year 1900. This is given out every 100 years by the hour of the time. It is the Bullshit Artist of the Century Award, and we're going to be presenting that here in just a couple of minutes. This is a very prestigious award, and as you know, we only give it out once each century. So there's a lot of people out there sitting on the edge of their chairs wondering if they're going to be the recipient. May I have the envelope, please? Thank you. Oh my God! And the winner is Mr. Alex Jones. Well, Jim, it's great to be here covering this award ceremony with you. Well, thank you, Bill. By the way, what is that they're playing? That's the Alex Jones theme song. And for all of you gathered here at this prestigious award hall, what you're hearing now is the Alex Jones theme song. I've never listened to his show before. I've never heard this. Who's that jumping up yelling out there? That looks like George Lucas to me. What is he saying? He's screaming something like "rip off, rip off." That's mine. That's mine. Rip off. What could he possibly be talking about? Well, I don't know. Let's send somebody down. Hey, go down there and find out what George Lucas is screaming about. Mr. Jones is presently making his way up to the ramp. Yes, he is, and he's wearing a beautiful camouflage Versace gown with and I just want to interject here that I really love those bright red sequined spiked heel shoes he's wearing. And the low cut thing with the nipple ring is kind of cute too. Well, what's going on there? Stop! George Lucas is attacking him. I've never seen anything like this. George Lucas, Alex Jones is running up the aisle toward the back door. George Lucas is right behind him, beating him over the head, yelling something incoherent. I don't know what it is. Well, our man just came back. Let's find out what he has to say. Oh, you guys are not going to believe this. George Lucas is yelling, "Empire Strikes Back! It's mine! It's mine! Rip off! Rip off!" Apparently, Alex Jones has been using some music for his theme song that doesn't belong to him. Why, that's incredible. You think he'd really do that? Well, he just got the Bullshit Artist of the Century Award. Why not? Well, all I can say, folks, from all of us here at the hour of the time, and all of us in our listening audience, Alex Jones, you're the one. You're the one, baby. You're the one. You're the You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. I don't quite get this. Why didn't we give the award to the guy at the Cheyenne Mountain who made this report about the missiles?
Because he wasn't a fool. He knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he sure did know what he was doing.
Well, I mean, obviously, most things we don't believe that they tell us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? You're sitting there listening to all that. Apparently, you're an Alex Jones fan.
Well, I'm not a fan.
Well, it sounds like it.
It's just.
Did you hear all of this broadcast? And you're still trying to defend this bullshit right here to me? Have you got a screw loose?
Not all of it.
Not all of it.
The intention of.
The intention was to do just exactly what happened. Create hysteria and panic and possibly cause a legitimate state of martial law to be declared. Whether Alex Jones was an active part of it or whether he was just a stupid dupe, it doesn't make any difference. That was the whole reason for the whole thing.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. Good for you. I was starting to think there was something wrong.
No, I mean, I can see that, but at the same time, there's another side to it.
There is no other side to it. We got to let some more callers get in because we only got about 3 minutes left. Thanks for calling. And thanks for your opinion. 520-333-457. Other side to it, my butt. Oh, man. You know what? The sheeple will never stop voluntarily following the Judas goat into the slaughterhouse. Good evening. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cooper. I see that H.G. Wells is back from the grave.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
And as far as Mr. Jones, I got something to say to him. And Orson Welles, he ain't.
Well,
I've been listening to shortwave for 40 years. I have never heard such asinine garbage in my life on radio.
Yeah. And that's why I did this series. And everybody's saying that I'm doing something bad because I'm backbiting another talk show host.
Yeah, I saw the TV deal with the general there, the underground command post there, whatever. There were some missiles fired, but they were under 500 kilometers in range, which did not matter.
Absolutely, and every one of those people who called knew it, including Mark Kornke, and none of them said it because they didn't want the listening audience to know that.
But I'm telling you, this guy, Alex Jones, he is great. He should receive some kind of an award.
He just did. He received the Bullshit Artist Award of the Century from the Hour of the Time.
We need a better one than that one, Mr. Cooper.
Well, I don't know what else to give. I got to let you go.
Thank you.
Try and get some more people in. Thanks for calling, and thanks for your opinion. 520-333-4578 is the number. Yeah, that whole thing was a setup from the very beginning. And you heard every time somebody called and they started to talk about something, Alex Jones would always change the subject. Even though the caller didn't mention, he would change the subject to atomic attack from Russia. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello, Bill. This is Jeffrey from New Orleans.
Hi, Jeffrey. Hey, thanks for that coffee and that fantastic French donut mix.
Yeah, I knew you'd enjoy it. That's why I sent it, because you people have done too much good over the past 6 years. Anyway, I couldn't help laughing about what I heard tonight, especially the fact that on that day I wasn't listening to Alex. I was listening to the Sun Bowl because I happen to be an Oregon Duck fan. But the point is that he and Bab Oakridge and others get out of hand at times with all of this panicking information, and that's where they completely fall down. When we got major problems such as the fight in Miami with that little boy Gonzalez, where the immigration service says he's going to have to be sent back to Cuba, and we have all this business about the increasing government attempts to write bills on gun control and campaign finance reform that could hurt a lot of organizations and so on. Yeah. And then we have to put up with all this panicking going on.
Yeah. Well, there was an agenda to it.
Definitely. Oh, I'm sure there was, and the agenda, I'm sure, was to try to cause a riot, which would give the government justification to impose martial law.
That's right. The military and the government were deployed. They were ready for it. They were expecting it. They wanted it, and all of these fools fell right into it. Either they were an active part of trying to make it come about, or they're some of the stupidest dupes that ever lived. Thanks for calling, Jeffrey.
Oh, one other thing.
I can't. We're out of time.
Okay, let's go then.
520-333-4578. I'm trying to get as many people in here so we can get as many different comments as we possibly can. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, hey Bill, how you doing?
Good.
It's Nick from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I've listened to Alex before over the internet at work.
Uh-huh.
He's all right, but you can tell where he gets a little too keyed up.
What do you mean he's all right? Anybody who pulls a fax out of a machine without checking or verifying anything, reads it over the air like it's fact, or reads AP Wire reports and press releases from ABC and things like that, as if they're fact without any verification or checking whatsoever, and takes the word of callers who are 95% wrong. Believe me, I've been doing this for years. All callers are 95% wrong on anything that they say on the air.
Oh, I'm not defending him.
Good.
I'm just saying I listen to him for entertainment more than anything else.
Well, good.
The thing I like about him is that he's fired up, and I like that kind of an attitude. But I have noticed before in the past that he does tend to take 1 inch and stretch it into a mile.
He makes stuff up right out of the clear.
Yeah.
Did you hear any of those callers say that the general said anything about nuclear missiles?
Yeah, I caught on to that.
They didn't say a word about it, did they?
No.
But he did, didn't he?
Yep.
Yep. Gotta let you go.
Thanks.
Thanks for calling. Thanks for your opinion. Well, that's it, folks. We're out of time. This was a historic broadcast tonight, and that was hard news. Probably the story of the century concerning talk radio in this country, and I hope it straightens a few people out. Y2K has completely discredited and wiped slick most of the patriot and Christian movement in this country. And if you don't believe that, you just listen and read and watch and see. You have screwed yourselves royal. And by God, I'm going to do everything I can to straighten it out and bring us back to legitimacy. And the only way we can do that is pin these lying bastards against the wall. And don't even try and get in my way, because I'll pin you too. Good night. God bless each and every single one of you. Good night, Annie Pooh and Allison. I love you dearly.